Salutations everyone, I'm the Goldflower Reviewer, and welcome to a new discussion video. Today is a kind of unscripted and unstructured video, but it's a topic I've been interested in for a while, and I think it's best if I just gauge the community's reaction to it. Also, I know it's been like a month, but thanks for the incredible reception of the Secret Door 2 review, and that video was, I kind of knew it would garner that reaction. I wasn't really expecting it to be such a polarizing video, considering, not very good, but I got views out of it, not to be an egotist or anything. But anyway, on with the actual topic. Veteran fans would know I am the patented old SML glazer. The years 2008 to 2013 I think are the best years of the channel's history, and there's no real getting around that. And for the longest time, and arguably still to this day, this is old SML. However, I've seen a lot of people say that they love old SML, and I say, well, that's fine. I agree, 100%. And then they start talking about the junior era. Now, obviously, this is technically correct, considering the fact that the junior era is over 10 years old now, but as someone who's been part of the community for so long, I've heard the junior era be basically called the beginning of the end for so long, that any praise towards it, especially when it's called old SML, is very unfamiliar to me, and so I always kind of disregard it as being false, despite it not necessarily being false. Now, I've been an SML fan since 2013, and I've been keeping up with the community since around that point as well, so I've basically seen the rise and fall of the SML community and SML as a whole. And during that time, I've always heard the junior era be classified as a massive downgrade from the classic era, and as someone who grew up with the classic era, I always was one to tend to agree. But now that we're in the mid-2020s and junior era fans are now finally starting to become the majority of the SML community, it's kind of unpopular to say that the junior era was bad. I think pretty much the whole community subscribes to Lolly H Dude's whole SML era's definitions, and honestly, this is probably the easiest and most concise way to think about these eras. The old era being from 2007 to 2008, the classic era being from 2008 to 2013, the junior era being from 2013 to 2016, and the Jeffy era being from 2016 to 2021, with the modern era being from 2021 to now. Now, in 2019, when these videos were made, these were perfect definitions, and to this day I still think they're pretty good. However, something to think about is that, well, the junior era videos are now older than the classic era videos were when these definitions were made. So that begs the question, does the junior era count as old SML now? In my opinion, sure, I guess, but I don't really want to rope them in with the classic era because despite this era not being as bad as most people said it was back in the day, this shit is nowhere near as good as the classic era in my opinion. Now, despite the way I worded things, I don't think the junior era is bad. I think it has plenty of nostalgic moments and some genuinely great videos. However, especially compared to the classic era, it has a lot of stinkers. Bowser's Depression, Junior Goes to Disney World, Junior's 6th Birthday, Chef Pee-Pee's Lottery Ticket, Chef Pee-Pee Quits Part 1 and Chef Pee-Pee Quits Part 3, Junior's 3 Wishes, The Grilled Cheese. I mean, there's a lot of videos that are really bad in this era. To people who like the junior era and genuinely think it is the channel's peak, more power to you, I'm one to disagree. However, I gotta ask, why do people think that the classic era is only love for nostalgia despite the fact that the junior era, from what I've seen at least, is mostly liked because of nostalgia? I think both eras have objective qualities and both hold up fairly well today. However, it's very evident to see that junior fans and beyond, well, more so Jeffy fans, but junior fans as well, really tend to think that the classic era is overhyped. I think a large reason for this is that MLSDA Season 1 is looped in with the classic era, and comparative to everything else, it isn't as good, but people see that as the flagship series, so everyone thinks, oh, the entire era was like this. And yeah, as an old fan, I'll always say that Season 1 is still great, however, I can't be one to say that it is the best that the series has ever offered. I honestly think that everything else in the classic era surpasses it, at least in some way. However, even Season 1 is still better than that junior era. No, I'm trolling. Truthfully, this whole video is part of a much bigger discussion, that being what constitutes old SML in the first place. And I mean, yeah, the junior era technically counts because it's over 10 years old, but also it's so wildly different from the previously established definition of old SML that it still feels weird calling it old SML. Pretty soon we'll be having this conversation with the Jeffy era, as that era is already turning 10 years old, with Jeffy's 10th anniversary being earlier this year. However, unlike the Junior era, I don't foresee a bunch of old Jeffy fans saying that this was the channel's peak. At least I hope not. Again, I don't hate the Junior era, but I still see it as really, really disappointing compared to the Classic era, despite it still having objective quality and objectively being the second best era of SML. And again, this isn't really meant to give a definitive answer on the question of does Junior era constitute as old SML, as that's up for you to decide. Me personally, I don't see it that way. I'll still just say old SML and then the Junior era later on. Again, I'll still acknowledge the Junior era's objective quality despite me thinking it's a bit overhyped, especially when the fans of this era swear on their soul that the Classic era is glazed. But feel free to comment what you think. Feel free to write essays in the comments to try and prove me wrong. Again, this is more of an opinionated video and not really meant to give an objective answer on anything. But with that, I'm the Goldflower Reviewer, and I kind of need to work on a Season 3 video now, don't I? Maybe I'll have another video, or something. But regardless, I'll see you all in the next video.